Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Finally I have my raincoat. Yay, I'm so excited about it. But first, hello to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, feel free to share it out, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next upload. And before I get into this review, make sure that you tune in for Sunday. I will have up my next BHM pattern designers make for you to share with you at that time. So this one is a doozy. So what I am going to suggest, go ahead and grab your beverage of choice, because I have a lot to say about this coat, this pattern, the fabric, everything. First, let's start with what did I make. I made the Rebecca Page Andie Anorak, and I will pop a picture of it here. This has been in the making for a couple months, because I did use fabric that was gifted to me from Minerva.com, and I will leave a link to the fabric down below. It is not an affiliate link by any means, but I do want to share with you the specific fabric that I have gotten. The Rebecca Page pattern, for those who don't know, and maybe for those who are just tuning in, two of the pattern companies so far as clothes that I tend, at least as of late, to sew the most, probably over the past couple years, is Rebecca Page and Cashmere patterns. Cashmere is, you all know, my absolute favorite, but Rebecca Page pattern sizes are also really good. And there's a few other pattern companies out there as well, but I have sewn quite a few Rebecca Page patterns at this point, and so I wanted to dive into something a little bit more intricate, a little bit more challenging, and I most certainly got that with this pattern. I will leave a link to the pattern down in the description box. It is an affiliate link. For those who do not know what affiliate link is, it's just if you decide to purchase the pattern using the link in the description box, it means I get a little bit of a commission from that, but you don't have to use the link. But just want to let you know that. So let's get into first the easiest thing to talk, well, it's going to be a combo conversation, and I want to make sure that you could see pictures and stuff. I am wearing Me Made. This is just that Valentine Stitch Dune Tank, which that pattern company is no longer around. This is it was a couple years ago, the Stitch Sisters did a video on creating a cardigan, an easy cardigan. So that's what this is. I used this was from a couple years ago, and I have my pants black on, some black pants. So this is what I wore today. But let's start with the fabric. Okay, so I had a few Tim Gunn moments throughout the making of this pattern. There are a ton of pieces for this pattern. So if you all remember how much I said it took and involved make when I made the Cashmere Chilton trench, this was just as much. But I find projects like this, depending on where you are in your sewing journey, if there's something that you really want that is as intricate as this, or jeans, I've said this about jeans as well, just take your time and just do it. Bite off little pieces and parts of it over several weeks if you have to. For me, because we did have a holiday recently, I spent a majority of the day off I had from work making this jacket. However, I will say, and I'll get into some of the details, overall, I would say if you worked on this from beginning to end after it's been, because I traced this, no I didn't, I did not cut this pattern out, and the only reason I did not trace this pattern, the only reason I did not trace it is because it had so many pieces, and I did not want to trace all of these pieces. I want to say it was more pieces with the Anorak than it was with the Cashmere Chilton trench, which I did trace, but for this I did not trace it. So and I cut out a smaller size. But let me share with you first the fabric. The fabric is from Minerva.com. It is called a geometric vinyl PVC coated cotton fabric in brown and gray. And so this is what it looks like. And I don't know if you can hear it. It feels coated. It almost, it sounds coated, I should say. And it sounds a little rubbery almost. But that is what I use for the exterior. The internal is a polyester fabric that I got from Fabric Wholesale Direct during Black Friday, actually. They had this huge Black Friday sale, and I remember that fabric was marked down to $2.99 a yard, plus it was an additional 20% off, so I got it for real cheap. But the PVC vinyl, it is a non-stretch. It's 56 inches wide, which was perfect for this pattern. So it was wide enough. One of the things you want to keep in mind if you are on the plus size range, and I've mentioned this before, is that you really have to pay attention to the width of the fabric that you're using. Because depending on what you're making, either you're going to be stuck with trying to piece parts together to really make the pattern piece work, or you won't be able to use that fabric. And so this fabric was wide enough, and I cut it 3X, but it was wide enough. Now a 5X, I think it still would have been enough room, but I didn't check that. But it's just those type of things you want to make sure that you keep in mind. Now, from what I can tell on the website, it looks like you should be able to wash this. It says it's perfect for waterproof cotton fabric, for bags, raincoats, hats, trench coats, tablecloths, umbrellas, and more. And so I chose to obviously do the raincoat. Now, the only thing I would not do, I don't know, I wouldn't dare put this in the wash machine. I did not wash it before using it. It is, I have a piece of it here. The front of it is like that, you know, you have that PVC coating, and then the back is a lightweight cotton. And so, but I don't know, I just wouldn't wash it. I will wipe it down. Obviously on the outside you can easily wipe it clean. The inside, if at the very least, I may take it to the cleaners to see if they can clean it, if for whatever reason the inside just gets all kind of, it needs to be cleaned. But yeah, I'm not putting this in a wash machine by no means. So that is the fabric. There was some challenges working with this fabric, and that's where I had a lot of my Tim Gunn moments, but I will get into it. Let's get into the actual pattern. I wrote quite a few notes because there was a lot. And if you have this pattern, you know that the pattern pages with instructions is roughly 75 pages, roughly. Well, maybe not, maybe 60 pages. Don't be intimidated by that. What was done is a lot of the pages are pictures, are large pictures, and like certain steps, like this step or that step, one or two steps, is all on one page, and or broken up into two different pages with large pictures so you can see what's going on. So it's not like because there's 65 pages of actual instructions does not mean it's 65, you know, steps. Actually, I don't even know if the steps are numbered. Yeah, they are. In total, there's only 11 steps, but because there are, let me just give you some stats. The pattern goes from a size extra small all the way up to a 5XL. So you're talking so far as measurements. Okay, so you are going from a XX small, you are starting at a bust size of 42.1, in finished garment. Now I'm giving you finished garment because that's the measurement I use to determine what I would cut, because there's so much ease. Obviously this raincoat is not a fitted coat at all. So I paid attention to the finished garment measurements. And so with finished garment measurements from an extra small, you starting out at a 42-inch chest, and then up to a 5XL, you're going to a 65-inch chest. And so I cut out, because my bust measurement is a 51. When I look at the finished garment measurements, a 51 would have put me at a 4XL to cut out. With a 4XL, that would have given me the finished garment measurement at the chest of 62 inches. That was a little bit too much room for me, so I dropped down one size. And plus, since I am losing weight, I didn't want anything spending this much time on a garment. I didn't want something just swinging off of me, you know, in due time. So I decided to drop down to that 3XL, which is a finished garment measurement of 59 inches. And so what else? She does include, so if you want to do a muslin for this, you most certainly can. Rebecca Page patterns always in the instructions in the beginning do tell you which pieces to cut out just to do a muslin. So you don't have to try to figure that out on your own. And then she also goes over in her patterns if you need to make certain types of adjustments. She had links to videos or whatnot, different things on the website or her channel about how to do them. The good thing about this pattern is, here's the bonus, this pattern comes with a sew along on her channel, on the Rebecca Page channel. I will link the first video down below so you can follow it. Now, me personally, I only use the sew along to for the collar, because y'all know I'm always, whatever reason, I still get tripped up on collars. For the collar and how to attach the lining to the external piece. That's pretty much the only parts of the sew along that I follow. Everything else was relatively easy to follow. There are a total of 20 that's why I say don't get intimidated. There is a total of 25 pattern pieces, and that includes your lining pieces and belt loops. Now here's the thing, there is a lot in the pattern that's optional, but I chose, because you know I just like to challenge myself, I chose to do a lot of the optional pieces. So what's optional are pockets on the front, what's optional is the hood, what's optional are the shoulder epaulets, and what's optional is the sleeve buckle and the belt loops. I wanted to do it all, so you will see everything on mine. I did everything. So if you take all that into consideration, it will take you a little longer, because I will say doing all those little pieces that I just talked about takes so much time. Oh my gosh. And then working with the fabric was challenging, and I did have to have some make it work moments, because one of the things is, let me see if I can, I don't know if you'll be able to tell. I don't think you're going to be able to tell just looking at it, but I knew I couldn't iron this, right? But I figure, oh, maybe I can do, because my iron has a cover on it, and then I put down a pressing cloth just to warm it a little bit is what I was thinking, because this is not quite as thick as what you would use to make a handbag. But I figure, ooh, let me just try. And I did it for one piece. Yeah, you can kind of tell right here. Let me see. Let me hide my face. Yeah, you can tell perfectly. I tried that on this piece. Look how shiny that got. And I didn't do it on, I just stopped. Once I realized this one little piece, this is what happened when I put, when I tell you it was a synthetic setting on my iron, and I still got this, yeah, I just knew, okay, there will be no even remotely warm iron going to the rest of this fabric. So yeah. And what took a while, because there are a lot of parts on here where you're doing, see, I did the sleeve buckle. See, I did the sleeve buckle, all of that. I did the, you see the epaulets. I did the, let's see, on the back of the hood, you have the, oh, because the way I'm holding it, it kind of came out. But you have this belt strap that's on the back of the hood. And you have the buckle on top, the strap, all of that. All of that. You have to turn all this, those little pieces inside out. When I tell you, I'm not joking, for all those pieces, the straps and these the different straps and loops and stuff, it took me literally 2 hours to turn everything out, because this fabric does not like being turned out. It does not like being turned right side out. And I had the hardest time because it is rubbing up against itself. So it was not having that. And I just sat there, but I just was patient, just sat there. So that was I just let that be one project in one day. Me sewing up all the little pieces and turning everything out, because that took forever. And I didn't want to risk damaging the fabric at all. I did sew this up on my, I started sewing it up on my HD 3000 because I figured, oh, well, at least I have the walking foot. I can use that for this. And in the thread, in the thread I was using, it was just, it felt like that machine was too much for this. So I switched back to my Brother SE 4000, put on my Teflon foot, perfect. No problem. And it sewed up everything beautifully. Now there was a couple sections where maybe I was just sewing a little bit too fast, and so it didn't go through. A couple of the stitch marks somewhere on here are, you know, a little close together. I did use Wonder Clips for everything, because sticking pins in this, not the best idea. I did do it for a couple parts, but I was like, ooh, no, I don't know what I was thinking. Wonder Clips. So Wonder Clips, use Wonder Clips if you're going to use this type of fabric. So I use Wonder Clips on everything, and I use Steam-A-Seam to, and I did not add any steam or anything. I just used the I didn't want to use my bag making double-sided tape because that's kind of thick, so I just used the Steam-A-Seam, and I didn't have to steam it down, but I just used it to kind of hold these pockets, because you sew the pockets on and the flap across. I use that to hold the pockets in place in order for me to stitch around. And so, as you can tell, the pocket calls for either buttons or it calls for snaps, but you do have the option to use buttons. I do have a snap setter, but I rather use a press for that as opposed to trying to, you know, work it out with my hand. But here I use buttons. Here are my buttons. They are so super cute. They match beautifully. As you can tell, my pocket is lined with that same fabric. I love it. And then for me, it definitely was a lot of finger pressing different parts, because I couldn't iron anything. When I did the hood, I will say I did not. Let me see if I can show you. I feel like I need a dress form. It would be easier for me to show this, but I don't have one. A lot of the parts I just finger press, and what I ended up doing, let me see if you can see that stitching around the collar. The pattern doesn't call for top stitching like the front, if you can see that. I stitched all the way down, because what I had to do, and I did that on both sides, because the fabric was trying to roll out and I knew I couldn't press this in place, I went ahead and just stitched. That's probably 1/8 inch all the way around certain areas and up here, just to make sure nothing folded came back out. And even I didn't do it on the bottom, but I did do it on the sleeves. So same thing with the sleeve. Not sure if you can tell, but I did stitch all the way around the sleeve, because what was happening was this was falling down, and I was thinking, oh, if I keep putting my hand in and out of it, it will just keep moving and shifting. So I went ahead and sewed that down. Again, 1/8 inch. There were like 6 of these loops that I had to do. Sleeve buckles on both sides. Again, I'm not going to do anything with the sleeve buckles, but I thought it just looked so cute. Just add it on there. The hood, I chose not to interface the hood. There are a couple pieces that I did interface very quick. It was a quick interface, long enough to adhere it. It didn't make that rubbery look like that one piece I showed you. But I decided not to interface this because I wanted this to be real floppy. And I mean, it's floppy enough. It's not super floppy because this is a structured fabric. But as you can see, I have, look at that. I got this twisted. Let me see if I can show it to you. There we go. Can you see my buttons? All my buttons, because you can detach the hood. So all my buttons are on there, looking so super cute. Also on the front of the hood, so if it's raining and I need to pull my hood up, I also have buttons on the hood. So cute. And I will say I took my time doing these buttonholes. Oh my gosh, because the last thing, what I did discover, because there was a couple parts where I stitched something wrong and I had to be careful, but I had to unpick. And obviously this PVC was not loving being unpicked because it's so obvious when the needle and everything goes down in there. But I put my buttonhole maker on a slow setting, and I just let it take its time, because there are 21 buttons, I believe. 21 buttons on here, and I hand sewed all the buttons on there because for whatever reason my buttonhole maker wasn't functioning properly, so I did have to hand sew all the buttons on there, which was fine. It didn't take me, I actually finished putting the buttons on today at work. I had to add 15 buttons on, and I did that in 45 minutes while I was over my lunch, so that wasn't any big deal. You do have the hook in here also. Okay, the camera had to change the battery, but it fits beautifully. I absolutely love it. Look how the inside hood looks. So you have your hood facing, and then the inside there. And so I will never take the hood off of this. I don't see a reason to take it off. I will leave it on there. The inside is finished beautifully. How she has you finish off the bottom. Now here's the thing, I don't know if you'll be able to tell in the pictures, but obviously I just talked about this fabric. I can't press the bottom of this to make it lay flat, so it's going to look a little like it needs to be creased at the bottom. And so I won't, I won't be doing any pressing of that, but I imagine sitting down in it and everything like that, it will just kind of take shape on its own. So I'm not overly concerned about that. But she does have you turn the jacket from an inside seam here, and you do get to finish off. And that's why I watched the video for this part, because she has you finish off the bottom. You have a little bit, that little area here at the bottom, so it's not all the way to the end, the lining. It's a little bit above. And so very nice way to finish that off. what would I say, when you're following the sew along, you might get a little confused because the sew along parts, they for the most part are in order, but it was certain parts like 4, 3 and 4 where it was bits of it that was out of order. It definitely, some parts definitely are not in order as in the instructions, so you might get a little confused by that. I always suggest, if there's a sew along, watch the sew along completely first, and then take notes where you think you will have to go back and watch the video in order to complete that section, because for the most part, quite honestly, this is not a hard jacket to put together. The thing that is the most cumbersome and tedious are all the little pieces, the belt loops, the belt straps, that different type of thing. And because you do have the exterior fabric and you have the lining fabric, and then you got to combine those two, so those types of things take time. But it's not, again, just take your time with it, and you will do fine. Now, I think it would be fun and much faster if you did snaps as opposed to buttonholes, because obviously that means you have to make the buttonholes, cut all the buttonholes open, then put all the buttons on, where with snaps you can kind of, use an awl to poke the hole, put in the snaps, and then you're pretty much done. But you do have, different parts for your, if you do decide to do buttons. If you want a raincoat, and the reason I made this is because I have been wanting a raincoat for a few years. I've been wanting a raincoat, and especially when we moved down here to Texas, because it rains a lot down here. I've been wanting a raincoat, and I've wanted one with a hood. And so this pattern just came out in 2019. I believe this is one that just came out in 2019. So I thought it was absolutely perfect. Yeah, this pattern, it came out in 2019, so it just came out last year. So I thought this was absolutely perfect, and because it comes in a nice size range, a more inclusive size range, I knew that it will work for me, because I'm not interested in grading up anybody's patterns. So this, I absolutely love it, and it is so perfect timing. It's actually overcast today. And I think it's supposed to rain this week. I was like, perfect, I get to wear my raincoat. But I am so very happy with it. Again, it is an involved make. If you want a raincoat, set yourself up to make this, but just be prepared. Let this be, I think if I didn't say it earlier, from start to finish, if you work full-time like I do during the day, and you can only sew in the evenings or the weekends, I will give myself 2 full weeks. 2 full weeks to just take your time with it. And if you have free weekends where you have a lot of time on the weekend, you might just need a full week. But give yourself 2 full weeks just to kind of get everything prepared and get to sewing, because like I said, for the most part, it's really easy to put together. It's just a lot of parts of it is very tedious. But if you want a cute raincoat, it's so well worth it. It is so well worth it. I absolutely love it. So let me know if you have any questions about this or the fabric. This fabric, most certainly I would use it for raincoat making, as it is suggested, but just be mindful that do not put any type of heat to this stuff. It will get rubbery. So that one, I'm glad I didn't do other pieces, because it's just this one part that has, and you can see it from a distance, it kind of has that rubbery finish on it. The rest I was like, oh well, I will just be doing some top stitching 1/8 inch all the way around on those parts that would fold over or whatever, and that stopped that. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So that is it. That is my review of the Andie Anorak. Again, I will leave a link to the pattern down in the description box. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to mention about the pattern. I know this was a little bit of a longer video, and I will leave a link to the fabric where I got it from Minerva.com. And yeah, that is it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Let me know how you liked it, what you think about it. If you know, would you make it? I know it's involved, but you know, depending on where you are in your sewing journey, I say just take your time. But if you want a cute raincoat, again, you don't have to do everything. Sorry about that. But if you have any questions or anything about this make, let me know. Again, I know it's quite involved, but so well worth it. So well worth it. And I think it's cute. I think it's super cute. And hopefully I've been popping up pictures throughout. So stay tuned for Sunday. I will have up my next make for BHM Pattern Designers. And yeah. So make sure you stay tuned and we will see you on Sunday.